Today we will have an introduction on exponents and order of operations. Let me ask you, what is the prime factored form of 16? What are the prime factors of 16? You must be able to tell me that quickly. 16 can be written as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Is that right? Yes. Now, the factor 2 is repeated 4 times. There is an easy way to write repeated factors by using what is called exponents. So, repeated factors can be written using exponents in a more convenient form. Now, look at the way we write it. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is written as 2 raised to the power of 4. 2 raised to the power of 4. Now here, this 2 is called the base and the 4 is called the exponent. So, when you write repeated factors using exponents, you have a base. The base is the number that is repeated. 2 is the base, and how many times is the base repeated? It is repeated 4 times, and that is your exponents. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 raised to the power of 4. Alright. Let me ask you now, what is the value of 5 raised to the power of 3? 5 raised to the power of 3. What does that mean? 5 is repeatedly multiplied 3 times. That is the meaning of 5 raised to the power of 3. It's 5 times 5 times 5. That is 125. 5 raised to the power of 3 is 125. Alright, tell me, what will be then 5 raised to the power of 4? If you multiply 5 4 times repeatedly, what will be that? Well, when you multiply 5 3 times repeatedly, you get 125. So multiply 125 by 5, what do you get? 625. So 5 raised to the power of 4 will be 625. Alright, tell me now this. What is the value of, I want you to watch this carefully, in parentheses, negative 2 raised to the power of 2. Now what that means is, the number negative 2 is multiplied by itself 2 times. Now, do you know that a negative number multiplied by a negative number will be a positive number? So, negative 2 or raised to the power of 2 is, this is the way you understand it. Negative 2 times negative 2, that will be positive 4. Now, what is the value of 3 over 4 raised to the power of 3? Now, what does that mean? The number 3 over 4 is multiplied by itself repeatedly 3 times. So, 3 over 4 raised to the power of 3. Remember that 3 is common for the numerator and the denominator. Is 3 over 4 times 3 over 4 times 3 over 4. What is that equal to? Multiply all the numerators 3 times 3 times 3 or over. Multiply all the denominators 4 times 4 times 4. That will be 27 over 64. Alright, watch this for a minute. Remember, if you have 3 raised to the power of 3 divided by 4, you must understand that this is not the same as this. 3 over 4, the quantity is raised to the power of 3. That is 3 over 4 times 3 over 4 times 3 over 4. Alright, what will this be? 3 to the power of 3 divided by 4. Now here, only the 3 is raised to the power of 3. So what will that be? That will be 3 times 3 times 3 on the numerator, and the denominator will be 4, and that will be 27 over 4. Alright, let's move on. What is the value of 3 to the power of 2 minus 5? Look at that. The quantity is raised to the power of 3. Well, what will you do there first? Well, first you need to evaluate the exponent here. And then you need to find the value of the quantity inside the parenthesis. And only after that you can raise that value to the power 3. So, first we find the value of the quantity inside the parentheses, then take the third power of that value. So, it will be 3 to the power of 2 minus 5. What will that be? 3 to the power of 2 is 9. So this will be 9 minus 5, again inside parenthesis, and that quantity is raised to the power of 3. Alright, now what is 9 minus 5? 9 minus 5 is 4. So now you have 4 raised to the power of 3. And what is that equal to? That is 4 times 4 times 4. That will be 64. Okay, one more. What is the value of negative 2? Look at the parenthesis. Negative 2 raised to the power of 3. What does that mean? Multiply negative 2 3 times by itself. Alright, so negative 2 raised to the power of 3 is negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by negative 2. Now, you must notice here that if you multiply the first 2 negative 2's, watch this. Negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 will be positive 4. And now you multiply that positive 4 with the negative 2. Is that right? So, negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 gives you positive 4. And multiply that positive 4 with the negative 2, the answer will be negative 8. Okay? How about this? What is the value of 0.02 raised to the power of 3? Well, I hope you know how to multiply your decimal numbers. Okay, let me review that with you for a minute. Tell me, what is 0.3 multiplied by 0.2? Can you do that for me? 0.3 multiplied by 0.2. Now this is the point, not a minus sign. Now the rule that we use there is, look how many decimal places are there in the numbers you multiply. There is 1 decimal place in the first number. There is 1 decimal place in the second number. There are a total of 2 decimal places in the numbers you multiply. And therefore, the answer must contain 2 decimal places. So multiplying 0.3 by 0.2, the answer must contain how many decimal places? 2 decimal places. So what all you need to do is simply multiply the numbers. 2 times 3 is 6. And now you need to write this using 2 decimal places. How will you do that? Starting at 6, now go to left. You got to count 2 places. 1, 2. Since there is nothing there, you put a 0 there and the decimal to the left of that. So the answer is 0.06. The answer contains 2 decimal places. Alright, now tell me. Let's do it in our mind now. Suppose I want to multiply 0.02 multiplied by 0.02. Alright? How about this? 0.02 multiplied by 0.02. What is the answer for that? Obviously, if you understand what I said, how many decimal places are there in the 2 numbers that we multiply? There is 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. That means the answer must contain 4 decimal places. Alright? That means I multiply 2 times 2 is 4. I need to write this using 4 decimal places. So I start counting 1, 2, that's a 0, 3, 4, and then put my decimal. So that will be a 0 to the left, another 0 to the left, another 0, and then the decimal. So you can see the answer now contains 4 decimal places. 0.2 multiplied by 0.2 is 0.0004. Okay, now can you do this? 0.02 raised to the power of 3. 0.02 is multiplied by itself 3 times. What will that be? Well, you can see I have used my colors there. First multiply 0.2 times 0.2. What is that? That will be 0.0004. And now multiply that with 0.2. You can now tell me the answer. How many decimal places will be there in the answer? Now, there are 4 decimal places in the first number. There are 2 decimal places in the second number. That means the answer will have 6 decimal places. Now, 2 times 4 is 8. And write 8 with 6 decimal places. How many zeros will come to the left of that 8? There will be 5 zeros. So the answer is 0.000008. There must be altogether 6 decimal places. Alright? I know some of you have problem with this. You need to practice this. Okay, let's move on. Try this now. What is the value of 0.12 raised to the power of 2? That is 0.12 multiplied by 0.12. Alright, can you do that on your own? What I would like you to do is hit pause on the video and do this on your own. What is the guideline? The number of decimal places in the answer should be equal to the total number of decimal places in the multiplying numbers. You are multiplying 0.12 by itself. That means there will be 4 decimal places. The answer must also have 4 decimal places. Look at this. 0.12 raised to the power of 2 is 0.12 multiplied by 0.12. Well, multiply 12 times 12. I know most of you know what is 12 times 12. 12 multiplied by 12 is 144. And the result must have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. So we will start 1, 2, 3, 4, a 0, and put the decimal. The answer is 0.0144. when decimal numbers are multiplied, the number of decimal places in the answer equal to the sum of the decimal places in the multiplying numbers. Okay, now try this on your own. What is the value of 0.012 multiplied by 0.82? Okay, try that on your own and see whether you get that answer. Okay, let's move on. So far we discussed exponents. Let's now look at order of operations. If you are given several operations, now what is the order in which you are going to do those operations? I know some of you know these rules for the order of operations, but I would like to take you through that one more time. Now, here I have some rules for the order of operations. First, evaluate the expressions in the grouping symbols in the order of parenthesis, bracket, and braces. That's the order in which you go. Next, evaluate all terms containing exponents and roots. Now, you don't know what these are, so forget about that at the moment. And the third step, evaluate multiplications and divisions in the order in which they appear. Now, very often students go wrong in here. When you have division and multiplication coming in from left to right, there is no rule that you must do multiplication first. Some students think you must do multiplication first. No. Division and multiplications, you simply do them from left to right. That's the way to go. From left to right. In other words, look at this one now. Suppose you have 4 divided by 2 multiplied by 5. Now, how would you do this? You go from left to right. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. So the answer to that will be 10. When multiplications and divisions come together, you do the operations from left to right. And finally, evaluate all additions and subtractions in the order in which they occur. Alright, we will practice this as we move on. Okay. Find the value of 250 divided by 5 multiplied by 4. Now you notice that there are only division and multiplication here. What is the rule that we use? You do the operations from left to right in the given order. So we perform the division and multiplication from left to right. So the first thing to do is 250 divided by 5. Can you tell me what is 250 divided by 5? 250 divided by 5 will be 50. So, to do that first, this will be 50, and now multiply that by 4. What is 50 multiplied by 4? Will be 200. Okay, another one. Find the value of 9 over 4 times 2 over 3 plus 4 over 5 times 5 over 3. Alright, what are the operations you have here? You have a multiplication, you have an addition, you have a multiplication. Now what is it that you do first? When you have multiplication, addition, you will do multiplication first. First we do the multiplication. So we multiply these two numbers, then we multiply these two numbers, and then add them together. So, look at the way I wrote it. 9 over 4 times 2 over 3. We learned how to do this in the last class. Multiply the numerators. It will be 9 times 2 divided by 4 times 3 plus multiply 4 over 5 times 5 over 3, and that will be 4 times 5 divided by 5 times 3. Okay, let's simplify that. 9 here can be simplified or factored as 3 times 3. So 9 times 2 is 3 times 3 times 2. On the denominator, 4 is factored as 2 times 2 times 3. Why do we do this? So that we can identify common factors and cancel them. In the second number, you don't have anything to factor. That will be 4 times 5 divided by 5 times 3. What is the next step? We cancel common factors. 2 on the denominator cancels with 2 on the numerator. 3 on the denominator cancels with 3 on the numerator. That means your first number now is 3 over 2. Plus, let's simplify this. 5 on the denominator cancels with 5 on the numerator. So what are we now left with? We are left with 3 over 2 here plus 4 over 3. Okay, can you add these two fractions without my help? First, what is the LCD? The denominator for the first is 2, the second denominator is 3. What is the LCD of 2 and 3? Well, of course they have nothing in common. That means you simply multiply them. The LCD is 6. Okay, and now we have the lowest common denominator is 6, and we have the big line waiting for us to construct the numerator. How do we construct the numerator? I want you to practice this adding and subtracting of fractions. You do a lot of these exercises so that it becomes very, very clear to you. Look at this. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And multiply that 3 with that numerator 3 and write it here. 3 times 3. Now, what is that 3? That 3 is obtained by 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and multiply that 3 with its numerator 3. Follow that up with the plus sign. There you are. Now 6 divided by 3 is 2. Multiply that 2 with the 4. Okay, and now on the numerator multiply the numbers. That will be 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 times 4 is 8. 9 plus 8 over 6. That is 17 over 6. And I'm sure you can write this as a mixed number as 2 and 5 over 6. Okay? Let's move on. Find the value of 11 times 4 minus 8 times 3. Well, that's very simple now. All we do is multiply, do the multiplication first and then do the subtraction. First do the multiplication. 11 times 4 minus 8 times 3 is 11 times 4 is 44 minus 8 times 3 is 24. So it is now 44 minus 24, that is equal to 20. Next one, find the value of 9 times 5 minus 7 plus 20 divided by 4. What will you do first? Well, first we simplify inside that parenthesis. So remove that parenthesis by simplifying inside. What is 5 minus 7? Alright, how many of you got that right? 5 minus 7. In other words, 7 take away from 5, it will be a negative number. So 9 times 5 minus 7. I have colored it red, showing we are going to find that value first. So that will be 9 times negative 2. 5 minus 7 is negative 2. And look at the way I write it. Write it in a parenthesis. If you don't put that parenthesis, you will read it as 9 minus 2. Is that right? To avoid that, write it like this. 9 times negative 2 plus 20 divided by 4. What's the next thing to do? In the next step, we do multiplication and division. That means we will multiply 9 times 2 and then we will divide 20 by 4. Those are the two things to do first. So that will be 9 multiplied by 2 plus 20 divided by 4 now equal to. Do 9 multiplied by negative 2. What is 9 multiplied by negative 2? It's negative 18 plus 20 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So we have now negative 18 plus 5. What is negative 18 plus 5? Well, when you want to add numbers that contain negative and positive signs, what we need to do? Well, the negative number, you see the number that contains the negative is bigger and the positive is smaller. That means the answer will be negative. So, find the difference. What is the difference between 18 and 5? That would be 13. So the answer will be negative 13. Negative 18 added to 5 is negative 13. In other words, if you want to give some meaning to it, if you are in debt by $18, you are in debt by $18, you pay up $5, you are still in debt by $13. Okay, let's do another one. Find the value of 5 raised to the power of 2, bracket, in parenthesis 21 minus 8 plus 2 raised to the power of 2, bracket ends. Okay, we always do the parenthesis. Let's simplify the parenthesis first. Find the value of 21 minus 8. So that will now become 5 squared. Now in square bracket, that parenthesis that contains 21 minus 8. 21 minus 8 is 13. Plus 2 squared. And look at this square bracket, that is still there. Alright, what is the next thing to do is find or evaluate these exponents. Now we do the exponents first. Alright, and that will be 5 squared is 25, square bracket, 13 plus 2 squared is 4. What's the next thing to do? Evaluate inside the square bracket. Simplify inside the bracket. 13 plus 4 is 17. So here we have 25 times 17. Okay, I want you to multiply this 25 times 17. I'm sure you can do that. Okay, that's equal to 425. I know you are doing this at home. Now, you are not allowed to use a calculator for these kind of multiplication. Remember, you will be coming to campus to do a final and the state exit, and you will not be allowed to use calculators. So you must learn to do the simple multiplication, division and so on without using the calculator. Okay? Alright, let's go and do another one. Find the value of 5 times 6 plus 1 minus 8 times 3 minus 2 all over 6 times 8 minus 6 minus 2 raised to the power of 3. What will you do first? Well, we will first evaluate inside the parenthesis. Find the value of 6 plus 1, 3 minus 2, and 8 minus 6. That's what we're going to do first. And I have indicated that with colors. So what does that become? It becomes 5 times 6 plus 1 is 7. That becomes 5 times 7 minus 8 times 3 minus 2 is 1. So that is 8 times 1. All over 6 times 8 minus 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. So that is 6 times 2 minus 2 raised to the power of 3. So what we have achieved in the first step is we evaluated the quantities inside the parentheses. What is the next thing to do is to evaluate that exponent. So do the exponent on the denominator. That's the next thing to do. And that will be 5 times 7 minus 8 times 1 all over 6 times 2 minus 2 raised to the power of 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. That is 8. Okay, what is the next thing that you will do? In the next step, you will do multiplications. And that's why I have used colors again there. Do the multiplications. Alright, do multiplication. And that will be 5 times 7 is 35 minus 8 times 1 is 8 all over 6 times 2 is 12 minus 8. And now we simplify the numerator and simplify the denominator. That is 35 minus 8 is 27. 12 minus 8 is 4. And that is 27 divided by 4. And how do you write that using mixed numbers? How many 4s will go in 27? Well, that is 6 4s. 6 4s are 24. Remaining 3. So that will be 6 and 3 over 4 is the answer. Okay, you must practice these kind of problems. Now go to the homework as soon as you finish watching this lecture and do some more of these. Let's now introduce a concept called inequalities. What is an inequality? Now, we will follow or we will use the following inequality symbols. I want you to be familiar with this. We will take it up in a later lesson, the detailed discussion on it. What does this symbol mean? It means greater than. So, an arrow pointing to the right is the symbol for greater than. And an arrow pointing to the left stands for less than. Now, if a right arrow has a line below it, it means you read it as greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to. In the same way, how will you read this? It will be less than or equal to. And of course you know that symbol, equal to. What does that mean? Not equal to. Well, you must be familiar with all these symbols. We will be using them as we move on. look at this. While 3 is greater than 2 is a correct statement. Isn't that a correct statement? 3 is greater than 2. 3 bananas is greater than 2 bananas. But is this statement true? 2 is greater than 3? No. 2 greater than 3 is an incorrect statement. Okay, let's do some checking to see if the statements that are made here are correct or incorrect. Check if the statement 6 times 5 minus 12 less than or equal to 18 is true. Well, first of all, we need to simplify this. Now, simplifying means simplify the left-hand side of the inequality. The right-hand side is a simplified number. So, we will now simplify the left-hand side of the inequality sign. Okay. Now, 6 times 5, first of all, this involves a multiplication. So, do that multiplication first. 6 times 5 is 30 minus 12. 30 minus 12 is less than or equal to 18. What is 30 minus 12? It's 18. 18 less than or equal to 18. Is that a true statement? Is that a correct statement? Yes, it is. Why is it true? Because 18 equal to 18. Now, what does the symbol say? It says 18 is less than or equal to. You see? If I say, suppose I make this statement. Now, what's this one here? On my right side, I'm holding a pen. Is that right? Now, if I make the statement, this is a pen or an elephant. Now, is that statement true? I'm making the statement that this is a pen or an elephant. That statement is true because when you make a statement with or, the statement becomes true when one of them is true. Is that right? Yes. So, the statement that this is the pen or an elephant is a true statement. In the same way, 18 less than or equal to 18. Because 18 equal to 18, that is a true statement. Now, I can also say that 7 less than or equal to 18. Is this true? Yes, this is also true. Why? Because 7 is less than 18. Now, it is enough that one of them is true. So, watch here. 18 less than or equal to 18 is a true statement. Similarly, 7 less than or equal to is also a true statement. Okay, let's go on. Check if the statement 2 multiplied by, in bracket, 7 times 5 minus 3 times 2, end bracket, less than or equal to 56. Is it a true or false statement? Alright, how do we simplify this? Well, this inside the bracket we got 2 multiplications. So we first simplify the left hand side. You see that? This is the left hand side we need to simplify. That is 2 multiplied by 7 times 5 is 35 minus 3 times 2 is 6. So the left hand side now becomes 2 multiplied by, in bracket, 35 minus 6. Less than or equal to 56. Alright, simplify inside the bracket. That is 2 multiplied by 29. Is that right? 35 minus 6 is 29. 2 multiplied by 29 less than or equal to 56. 2 multiplied by 29 is 58. 58 less than or equal to 56. Is that a true statement? Well, remember, this contains two statements. Is 58 less than 56? No, that's false. Is 58 equal to 56? No. So both statements are wrong. In other words, if I make an outrageous statement like this is a car or an elephant, then you can tell me you are crazy, right? Both those statements are wrong. Therefore, that statement is wrong. So since 58 is greater than 56, this statement is not true. All right, let's see how. We will now try this. Check if the statement 7 less than or equal to 3 times 8 minus 3 plus 2 times 4 minus 1 all over 9 times 6 minus 2 minus 11 times 5 minus 2 is true. Now, what is the method? We will first simplify the right hand side. We will simplify the right hand side because the left hand side is a simple number. And on the right hand side, we will simplify inside the parenthesis where I have colored. Now watch. Inside the parenthesis, we will simplify. And what does that become? We have now 7 less than or equal to 3 times 8 minus 3 is 5 plus 2 times 4 minus 1 is 3 all over 9 times 6 minus 2 is 4 minus 11 times 5 minus 2 is 3. What is the next thing to do? We need to do the multiplication. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 times 3 is 6 all over 9 times 4 is 36 minus 11 times 3 is 33. Okay, now it's simple. 15 plus 6 is 21. 36 minus 3 is 36 minus 33 is 3. So what have we ended up with the statement? The statement now reads 7 less than or equal to 21 over 3. What is 21 over 3? Well, 21 over 3 is 7. So the statement has now become 7 less than or equal to 7. Now remember, this contains two statements. What is the first statement? The first statement is 7 less than 7. Well, that's not true. But the second statement is 7 equal to 7. That is true. Since one of the statements is true, 7 less than or equal to 7 is a true statement. Okay. Write an inequality for the statement. I'm going to give you a statement. You need to write the inequality. It says 3 is not equal to 4. How would you write that? 3 is not equal to 4. What is the symbol for not equal to? There you are. 3 not equal to 4 is written like that. Write an inequality for the statement 5 is less than or equal to 9. 5 is less than or equal to 9. That is simple. 5 is less than or equal to 9. Okay, this time I'm going to give you a challenge. You've got to construct a false statement. The statement you make must be false. That involves subtraction on the left side, the symbol greater than or equal to, and a division on the right side. You see, this is what I want you to do. You've got to have a statement that involves subtraction on the left side. That means you've got to say something minus something else, and the inequality sign must be greater than or equal to, and the right side must be a division. In other words, it must look like this: a subtraction on the left side, a number minus another number is greater than or equal to a number divided by another number. Now, you must put numbers in here to make this statement a false statement. Well, actually it is easy to do, because the best way to do is start with a false statement. Let me show you how to do that. Now, you know that, let's see, 5 is greater than or equal to 10. Is that a true or a false statement? Tell me. 5 is greater than or equal to 10. Well, that's a false statement. So what all now you need to do is find two numbers. When you subtract, you will get 5. Alright, give me a number here and a number here, so that when you subtract, you get 5. You have many choices. I can say 10 minus 5, or 8 minus 3, or 7 minus 2, or 100 minus 95. Is that right? So I can put any number of my choice to get this 5. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make a choice. Say 7 minus 2. And you know 7 minus 2 is 5. Greater than or equal to 10. That means you must now put numbers over here that will give you 10. Can you give me some numbers that is a number divided by a number equal to 10? Again, there are many choices you can make. You see, there is no single answer for this question. There are many answers. I can write here as 20 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Or I can actually make 40 divided by 4, or 30 divided by 3. All those will fit. And that will give us this false statement, 5 greater than or equal to 10. I hope you understand the mechanism of dealing with problems like this. Okay, let's see what I have done here. Let's write the left-hand side as 12 minus 5. Alright, what is 12 minus 5? 12 minus 5 is 7. Now choose the right side that will make the statement false using greater than or equal to. Can you choose a right side? The left side we have chosen to be 7. Choose the right side that will make the statement false using this. Well, any number greater than 7 on the right will make the statement false. Is that right? Yes. Let's choose the number to be 10. So 10 can be obtained by dividing 20 by 2, or 30 by 3, or 40 by 4. You can have any number of statements that will do that. So look at the false statement we have made. 12 minus 5 greater than or equal to 30 over 3. That statement is 7 greater than or equal to 10 is a false statement. Another one. Write the statement 8 greater than 4 by reversing the inequality sign while keeping the statement true. Well, you see, if 8 is greater than 4, Isn't it reasonable to think that 4 is less than 8? That's an important characteristic of inequality. That means if you have a true inequality statement, you can exchange the positions of the number, bring 4 to the left and 8 to the right, and still make the statement true by reversing the inequality. You see? A very important property. Now, 8 is greater than 4 means that 4 is less than 8. So 4 is less than 8 is a true statement. Now, what I want you to watch here is what has happened. The 4 on the right came to the left. 8 on the left went to the right. And that means we swapped the numbers. And to make the statement true, what did we do? We reversed the inequality. Greater than became less than. It means 8 greater than 4 is a true statement. And this is the same statement as 4 less than 8. Similarly, look at this. 2 less than or equal to 5 is the same as 5 greater than or equal to 2. Now, swap the positions of the numbers and reverse the inequality sign. 2 less than or equal to 5 and 5 greater than or equal to 2 are both the same statements and both are true. Now tell me, why is 10 greater than or equal to a true statement? Now I have told you a statement like this actually contains two different statements. What are they? 10 greater than 2 and 10 equal to 2. If one of these statements is true, then the whole statement is true because we are using OR. You see that? So, this is true because 10 is greater than 2. Now, why is 10 greater than or equal to 10 a true statement? Well, because 10 equal to 10. I hope you have a fair understanding of inequalities by now. So what we did in this lesson is to do a review, because most of you already know this. We did a review on what kind of things? On exponents, order of operations and inequalities, and we will use these as we go on. Now let me remind you again and again, and I will do that as we go on. Do not fall behind. Now on a regular class, you are forced to come to class and keep to the schedule. Now here, I can only give you the schedule on the internet. I can't force you to do your work. That is your job. Okay? So keep to the schedule. Please do not fall behind. And let me know when you have any problems, and I will answer all your questions almost immediately. Alright? Alright, go back and do all your homework now from this lesson.